Machlis.
Shalom, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Beautiful smiles.
1 second, we're gonna rename it. Hi, 1 second, I'm sorry for the lateness. My fault that he's late this time.
No worries.
Okay. Just changing his username. Okay. You're good?
I'm fine. I don't know. I'd like to be good. She's supposed to do. Shalom uvracha. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to Eretz Yisrael. Welcome to my living room. I hope everybody can hear clearly. Is that? Yes, fine. Shalom aleichem. How are you feeling?
Baruch Hashem, Rav.
101%?
101%.
101%. Wow, that's tremendous. Everybody should be healthy and blessed.
Amen.
I appreciate everyone's participation. And I would like to, with the help of Hashem, try to discuss certain aspects of Parashat Pinchas. I think this is the first week in a while that we're together with each other. Want to say something?
Yeah, is it possible if at the end, or maybe we could dedicate, there's a boy from our year who's in the hospital right now.
Who was that?
Isaac Selig. His name is Yitzhak Yehuda ben Shifra Miriam.
1 second. Yishavarach Avoteinu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe ve'Aaron David u'Shlomo Hu yichazek v'yirapeh yatzliach b'ma'od ma'od et the name again?
Yitzchak Yehuda
Yitzchak Yehuda ben
Shifra Miriam.
Shifra Miriam Elna Rafanalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimale Rachamim Alav Lachlimo Rapotho Lachaziko Lachayotho Yishlach Lo Meheira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim L'reish Mem Chet Evarav V'shin Samach Gidav Toch Sha'ar Cholei Yisrael Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Ashta B'Agalav Uzman Karib and Omar Amen.
Amen.
How long does he have to be in the hospital?
He got there on Friday, and he's there for Shabbos, and right now he's going to get an update again on Wednesday. So we'll see, but that's the time he gets out soon. But
I hope he should be perfectly healthy, together with everyone else.
Amen. Amen.
The only need for hospitals should be those women who still decide to have babies in maternity wards as opposed to birthing at home. There was one great rabbi who suggested maybe more and more people should consider even home births. So maybe the hospitals will be completely closed and turned into building developments, high rises of some sort.
Amen. Amen.
Shalom Aleichem. Somebody wanted to say something? I wanted to just celebrate the fact that together we are studying Parashat Pinchas. I felt over the last couple of weeks, since Shavuot, some level of a disconnect between Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz. We were not reading the same parashiyot. Last week, a little bit, we read Balak, you read Chukat Pinchas. As we enter this Shabbat, Bezrat Hashem, we're reading the same parasha. We're all holding hands, even in the age of Corona, even with social distancing, holding hands, celebrating Parashat Pinchas together. One of the challenging aspects of studying Parashat Pinchas for me is the idea that at the very beginning of the parasha, God establishes a special covenant with Pinchas called Shalom. Lachein Emor, the third pasuk of the parasha. Lachein Emor, Hineni Notelo et Briti Shalom. I'm going to establish with Pinchas. I will give Pinchas the covenant, my covenant, Briti, My covenant of shalom. What does Pinchas have to do with the covenant of shalom? If anything, if we study the end of Parashat Balak, it sounds as if Pinchas is involved in activities which are the opposite of shalom. As you remember, or let me just remind ourselves together, beginning of chapter 25, that's the end of Parashat Balak, we read this very, very tragic story of a leader of the Jewish people, one of the heads of one of the tribes, was involved in some kind of improper level of relationship with a foreign woman. And Pinchas, with the zeal of God, comes and stabs him, kills her. And there's some kind of tragedy that takes place, the last sentence of Parashat Balak. It's unusual that a section of Torah should end on a negative note. Vayiyu hametim b'magifa arba'ah v'esrim al 24,000 people. That's the way the parsha ends. That requires special study, a need for special elucidation. How do you end the parsha on such a sad note? 24,000 people dying. But whatever it is, it doesn't sound to us as if the covenant of shalom is connected to Pinchas. He sounds much more like maybe the covenant of milchama, the covenant of takifut, of azut, of kanaut. In Nino, they know it, Briti Shalom. So there are different approaches what this means. My covenant of Shalom, one of the greatest commentaries of Avraham Ibn Ezra. If you haven't studied the Ibn Ezra lately, I personally recommend it. Very, very beautiful commentary. It's challenging. It's not so easy sometimes to understand what he was writing. He wrote in a very succinct fashion. Some say he was a poet, a great poet, if some of his poetry. Some say he was very poor. He didn't even have enough space to write. Didn't have enough material. Very, very short, very, very concise commentary. If you've never studied Ibn Ezra, so do so. Read a few psukim with Ibn Ezra. I think it'll open new horizons for you. Ibn Ezra says that Hinanino Telot Biti Shalom. God has to establish a covenant of shalom, specifically with Pinchas, because it's dangerous. Because the action that Pinchas took as he killed the leader of the tribe of Shimon, as he killed Zimri, well, maybe members of Zimri's family, maybe relatives of Zimri, maybe tribal members of Zimri will come and will try to avenge his blood. He was killed by Pinchas. So maybe they'll go and try to kill Pinchas. Maybe members of Cosby, that's the name of the woman. Also for a very distinguished family in Midian. Maybe the relatives, maybe the associates of Cosby will come and try to kill Pinchas. Therefore, says the Ibn Ezra, maybe God establishes this covenant of shalom, this protective level of shalom for Pinchas to protect him against any possible attacks by any people. That's the Ibn Ezra's approach. One could say that maybe the Torah is teaching us a new idea, a new insight into shalom. There's a difference between shalom, the Jewish understanding of shalom. Is the Jewish religion a pacifist religion? I don't think so. I think it says explicitly in the book of Kohelet. The truth is, you don't need Kohelet to understand. Just read the Torah, read the Tanakh. The Tanakh is filled with wars, many, many references to wars, as it says explicitly in Kohelet, Eit Milchama. There's a time for war. Yes, eight shalom, there's time for peace. So maybe shalom, from the word shalem, from the word shlemut, maybe it's a new insight into shalom. Maybe to some people, shalom means I'll never do anything harsh. I'm into shalom. I want shalom. And maybe the fact that God establishes the covenant of shalom, specifically with a person who to some people, it seems as if he is involved in the action which is the opposite of shalom, opens up a new level of understanding for us of what shalom is. Shalom doesn't mean just, okay, whatever you do is fine. I have no interest in bothering you. I'm not going to meddle into your affairs. You can violate whatever you want. You can transgress. You can behave any way you want. Then shalom, everybody shalom. No, that's not shalom. That's not shalom. Maybe sometimes what's required is a harsh action. And the harsh action can be part of this global understanding of shalom. It's pretty complicated. You follow what I'm saying? It's a complicated idea that shalom can be, the road to shalom can sometimes be with milchama. That the road, Hinanino tein lo at Briti Shalom. Pinchas is getting the, but it just says here, Vayar Pinchas Vayavoa Vayit Korach Shnehem. We read the end of the part of Vayit Korach Shnehem. He stepped. That's shalom. That's shalom. Yes, maybe that's shalom. And maybe sometimes the challenge is our nation is a nation of love. Our nation, our religion, our heritage, our entire tradition is connected to the principles of loving people, being sensitive to people, caring for people, reaching out for people. The founder of our religion, Avraham Avinu, is the ultimate level of kindness and gentility. And nevertheless, even in the life of Abraham, Abraham is described in Parashat Lech Lecha as going to battle. Not only to battle the strongest empires of his time. Abraham, a warrior. Abraham is a philanthropist. Abraham is a philosopher. What's he doing in the battlefield? And he succeeds. How could you merge the personality of Abraham's chesed together with the battle that's described in Parashat Lech Lecha at the beginning of the book of Bereshit? It would seem that that's part of the total picture of shalom. That's another possibility. But I would like to learn an approach which is discussed in the commentary of our Chaim, Rabbi Chaim Ibn Attar, the yard site of Rav Chaim, the yard site of the Or Chaim is being observed. Rav Chaim Ibn Attar in the commentary called Or Chaim, I hope that you've studied it. If not, that's the homework. I don't know, 2 assignments in one day is maybe overwhelming. But let's say a minute in the Ibn Ezra and a minute in the Or Chaim. That's not overwhelming, right? A minute. I'm trying to think if either one of them was translated. Maybe I've seen Or Chaim in English. Is that right? Anybody knows Or Chaim translated into English? I don't remember seeing the Ibn Ezra in English, but these are beautiful commentaries. Usually, in most editions of the Mikraot Gedolot, you have both commentaries, the Ibn Ezra and the Or Chaim. The Or Chaim's approach is that specifically when a person is involved in a harsh action, justifiably correct action. It's true, he's supposed to be involved in this action. What Pinchas did is understood to be correct. Nevertheless, whenever a person has to take an action which is strict, which is exacting, which is punishing, maybe immediately afterwards, in order to temper it, in order to balance it, the very action of Pinchas has to be followed by a covenant of shalom. There has to be this balance. Very complicated balance, as I mentioned before. People know how to go all the way to shalom. And people know how to go all the way to milchama. People can know how to be very, very zealous. People know how to have very strong to merge the two. Maybe that's the message of Parashat Pinchas. In a nino tein lo, okay, Pinchas, you just had to remove from this world several people, and as a result of this action, many people die. So now, maybe even inadvertently, maybe you're connected to that level of energy of killing people, stabbing people, fighting people, arguing with people. So what do I have to? What's the balance that's necessary? Inani notein lo et briti. What's the next word? No. Inani notein lo et briti.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. Yeah, shalom. You need shalom. How do you do shalom? No. Well, maybe even if you think that what you're doing is correct, and it could be correct, it always has to be countered with the other force. The Rambam, Maimonides writes in Hilchot Deot that sometimes if a person is connected, he always opts for the middle path, the Shvil HaZahav, the golden means, what he calls the Derech Hashem, the proper pathway of God, which is not on any one of the two extremes. I had a discussion with one of our great teachers here this week about going to certain levels of extremes. I shared my thoughts on it. He shared his thoughts on it. We weren't necessarily saying the same thing, but I love him anyway, and I respect him anyway, and he doesn't have to accept my opinion. There are other opinions in the world which are surely as legitimate, maybe much more legitimate than mine. But the Rambam speaks about like this Shvil HaZahav. Says the Rambam, but if a person has gone to one extreme, then they should not, as a result of that, they should not aim to go back to the Shvil HaZahav, to the middle path. That's not where they should go. Go to the other extreme. That's what he says. Let's say a person is not supposed to be, sad all the time. Not supposed to be happy all the time. Maybe try to find the balance. You need a balanced personality. Shalom, welcome. I didn't see your picture until right now. I saw your name, but I didn't see it. Shalom aleichem. Thank you for joining. So, let's say a person, has been very, very sad. Okay, now he's reading Rambam. He's reading Maimonides' guide to proper behavior. What's the proper? I'll go towards the middle, not too happy. No. If you went all the way to the level of sadness, go to the extreme level now. Go to the other side and be happy even more than everybody else is. And then eventually, you want to say something? And then, please.
Is that one of my rabbanim were telling me, might have been a few, that if you have a midah that is either good or bad, that you want to be balancing out. Like if someone is overly generous to the point where they're giving their own things away when they wouldn't be halakhically allowed to, or whenever if you have a midah that you want to balance out, is that to act in the exact opposite. So if you have one extreme, to act in the exact opposite.
Was that one of the great leaders of the Jewish people just came on? Shalom aleichem. Yeah, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That over the course of time, that it'll balance it out, because your body, your mind is so used to one way, but then you've done it the other way. That's the Rambam's principle. That's his principle. You can read about it in Hilchot Deot. So it could be that Pinchas needs this special blessing of shalom now. Since he was involved in what many people could consider the opposite of shalom, so now there's a special covenant of God. Not just shalom, briti shalom, my covenant of shalom, God's concept of shalom, a level beyond regular shalom. Now the Kohanim are involved with shalom. We have many references of Kohanim connected to shalom. Pinchas, seemingly for whatever reason, was involved in actions which one could consider the opposite of shalom. But Havemi Tamidav Shalaharon. Pinchas is described at the beginning of our parsha. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen. Aharon. Havemi Tamidav Shalaharon. Ohev Shalom. Rodev Shalom. Ohev et Abriot. Bekarban Latom. How could I do that? I was just involved in battle. I was just involved in removing all the negative forces from the world. How am I supposed to get to the level of shalom? How am I supposed to get to that which the prophet speaks of in the last of the Nevi'im? Last of the Nevi'im in the book of Malachi. It speaks about how the Kohen bishalom uvemishar alachiti. Pathways of shalom. So Pinchas is in need of that special blessing of God to balance the action of the removal of Zimri and Kozbi in order to get to the desired level of proper behavior. And therefore, the author of the Orach Hayim brilliantly cites a section of the Torah from the book of Devarim. I don't know if any of you have the Tanakh in front of you, but if you look at the book of Devarim, there's a section there which, at least on some kind of superficial level, seems to be one of the most difficult and challenging to carry out for the kind-hearted, sensitive, loving, peaceful Jew. And it's called the laws of Ir Hanidachat. Remember Ir Hanidachat? This city they're all involved in corruption. They're all involved in idol worship. They're all involved in the opposite of. And then the words themselves. If you look at chapter 13 of Devarim, Parshat Re'eh, I'll read it. It says Hakei Takeh, Hakei Takeh. That's a strong language. Not just Takeh, Hakei Takeh. Hakei. You shall absolutely smite them. At Yoshvei Ha'ir Lefi Acharei Motah. At Kol Asher Ba, destroy everyone. At Kol Shlala, destroy and burn everything from that city, and take all the property of that city. V'sarafta va'esh. You remember this? Remember already that? Yes or no? Yes, a little bit. Some people are not. Parashat v'sarafta va'esh. Burn it to a crisp. Destroy it, burn it. Et ta'ir v'et kol shlala kalil. It should just be like a pile of. So what does it say immediately after that? The Orach Hayim points out in what I consider to be maybe it's been said before him, but immediately after that, the next sentence, after the Torah speaks of destroying, killing, removing the entirety of the city of this wayward city, this Ir Hanidah, laws of which are fairly complicated, but this is a whole section of Torah, the end of Perek Yud Gimel of Devarim. And then it says, V'natan l'cha rachamim, V'natan l'cha rachamim. God will give you rachamim. God will give you rachamim. We're talking about the opposite of rachamim. We're talking about the opposite of rachamim. You're not allowed to have mercy on the city. It's everything is destroyed. There is no mercy here. No mercy. And the result is, I can see certain people say, what? To destroy a whole city? Actually, destroy a whole city? Everything about the city? All residents of the city, animals of the city, every property of the city. So immediately afterwards, the Torah says that God is going to give the Jewish people a special blessing of rachamim, mercy. Blessing of mercy. Her says that the word mercy, compassion, in Hebrew is the same root as the Hebrew word for uterus, for womb. Resh, Het mem is the word Hebrew for uterus, womb, rechem. And resh chet mem is the Hebrew word for pity, compassion, sensitivity. In Aramaic, resh chet mem, in the Talmudic language, in Aramaic, resh chet mem means to love. And the Rav Hirsch says that maybe the greatest example that we have of compassion in the world is a mother's compassion for her child. And therefore, resh chet mem is connected to resh chet mem. God will grant you rachamim. Why now will God grant you rachamim? Says the Orach Chaim, because the fish at Sival Iranidachat, Shiargu Kolir, Shiargu Kolir, says they were just commanded to destroy the whole city. Every so perhaps Maaseh Hazeh Yolid Tevach Sariyut Leva Adam. You don't come back from destroying a whole city the same way that you went there. You are now a warrior. A warrior. Okay, that's very good, very important. What do you need now? You need something similar to what we learned in this week's Torah section of Pinchas. In Pinchas' case, it's called Shalom. In the case of the Irani Tacha, it's Rachamim. Natan Lecha Rachamim. I read something amazing from the Kotzker Rebbe. The Kotzker Rebbe says that really Moshe had considered the possibility that the leader of the Jewish people should be Pinchas. Moshe is about to leave this world, right? This is the end of the life of Moshe, 40th year, the last year of his life. So who should take over? So in our Torah section of Pinchas, Moshe asks for guidance from God, and eventually Yehoshua is appointed. Says the Kotzker, really Pinchas was an eligible candidate up to the point where he acted in this kanaut fashion. Maybe the leader of the Jewish people cannot be someone who's so zealous. It cannot be now. It's necessary. We need that balance. And maybe the leader has to be Yehoshua carries out battles. Yehoshua carries out battles. He goes to war. He has 31 kings. 31 kings. Read the book of Yehoshua. Read about how many. Yes, but maybe Yehoshua's personality is more fitting to be the leader than is Pinchas. And maybe according to a sefer called Duda'e Ruvain, written by Rav Ruvain Katz, Petach Tikva, he says, maybe if a leader is a kanai, the leader is one who is constantly fighting every improper action and wanting to make sure that all forms of atrocities are removed, and it's going to fight it, tooth and nail, if he wants to make sure that all transgressions are dealt with and every negative force. Well, maybe that's the way God will deal with the people also. If that's the leader, and the leader is representing the people, so maybe you want to play hardball. You want to go just like with the level of strictness. Maybe a strict leader, God forbid, bring upon the Jewish people the difficulties, as for shalom, of punishment. And therefore, maybe Hiranino Tainlo at Priti Shalom. You have to find that shalom. The Haftarah of Parashat Pinchas, which we don't read this year because in the 3 weeks, we read 3 special Haftarot. Gimel Depur Anuta. We read this week from Yirmiyahu, next week from Yirmiyahu, and then right before Shabbat from Yeshayahu. But if you look at the Chumash, in a year where Pinchas falls out before the 3 weeks, in I don't know if any of you are Yemenites, but Yemenite tradition, they just read this past Shabbat. I think in most Yemenite communities they read Pinchas. And the Yemenites fought with us. So, no? Yeah, you're a Yemenite. You're smiling. I don't know. Yes, and I think in Teimanim read they have a very unusual custom. They always read. In Israel, we never read Chukat Balak together. The Yemenites read Chukat Balak together, I believe. Always, they're always read, and they read Pinchas, and then when we read Matot and Masei as a joint section, they always read Matot separately, Masei separately, and those are the 3 weeks. Very interesting a series of customs. If you look at the Haftarah Parshat Pinchas, it's a story of one of the greatest prophets of world history. His name is Elijah, Eliyahu Hanavi, and there is some kind of tradition associating Pinchas and Eliyahu. Eliyahu is Pinchas, Pinchas is Eliyahu. What it means, it depends on who you ask. What does it mean that Eliyahu is Pinchas? We're talking many, many hundreds of years later. Is it literal? Is it conceptual? Eliyahu is Pinchas. But there is such a tradition. And many of the words that are used in the story of Pinchas are used in the story of Eliyahu, in the Haftarah. Look at the 19th chapter of Kings 1, Kano Kineti, the beginning of our parsha. It says, Kano et Kinati, the same words almost exactly. Kano Kineti, I was fighting the battles of God, and God speaks to Elijah, God speaks to Eliyahu. What exactly are you doing? And there's no one, and your people left the covenant. Very, very similar to the energies of Pinchas. And then, as is pointed out by many of the commentaries, in the spirit of what we're learning, from the Orach Chaim, the very Eliyahu who is connected to Kano Kineti, very strong, very harsh actions, he is the prophet that's spoken of as bringing the ultimate levels of peace to the world. Heishiv levavot al banim, and Eliyahu will restore. Parents and children will start loving each other again. I hope they all love each other right now, but maybe Eliyahu's it. Heishiv levavot al banim, all the fathers and all the mothers and all the children. Everybody, Heishiv levavot al banim. Inei Anochi sholech lachem et Eliyahu hanavi, v'heishiv levavot al banim. Believe banim al avotam, the children be so connected to the parents. And the Midrash teaches. It's also in Eduyot, Perichet. It's also in the Midrash Shir Hashirim Rabbah. Ein Eliyahu ba Ella. Listen to this. La'asot shalom ba'olam. Eliyahu is la'asot shalom, but Eliyahu is the opposite of shalom. No, it's not the opposite of shalom. It's the completion of shalom. And every time you have the opposite of shalom, you need shalom to balance that. And perhaps that's the reason why in so many of the cases, the people that were forced for one reason or another to take strong actions. I'll give you an example which is very close to my heart. And I feel this every time I learn either Pirkei Avot or Brachot. There was a great man, and his name is Shmuel HaKatan. Remember Shmuel HaKatan a little bit from Pirkei Avot? Yes. Shmuel HaKatan, Shmuel HaKatan, one of the great rabbis, period of the Mishnah. According to one interpretation, why he's called Shmuel HaKatan, he was so humble, he was so meek, he was so sensitive. Shmuel HaKatan. Okay, Shmuel HaKatan. They need a blessing. It says in the Gemara, Rabban Gamliel, they needed to establish a blessing to destroy all the enemies of the Jewish people. And they're looking around who could author it. Now, that itself is a little unusual because everyone could author it, right? Yeah. Let all the enemies, perish. I mean, what's so complicated about writing a bracha? Man? Who's going to do it? And, there's only one person. There's only one person who can author this blessing. Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan. Oh, Shmuel HaKatan. And then it says in the Gemara that a year after he established the blessing, That's why there's a whole discussion about 18 blessings, 19 blessings. This is the 19th blessing. The blessing called Minim, Malshinim. Many versions of that bracha, more than any other bracha. It was censored many times. All kinds of sectarians were included, and people were fighting it, and internal censorship and external censorship. Very complicated bracha, brachat haminim. Brachat depends which community you pray. La minim v'la malshinim, la mishumadim, la malshinim al titikva. Brachat Hashem shomer oivim, machnia aminim, machnia zaydim. So a year later, Shmuel HaKatan is leading the service. He forgot the bracha. He can't remember it. He's standing there leading the congregation before the age of prayer books, right? And he's looking into it. It says in the Mishkif B'Shtayim B'Shalosh Sha'ot. I don't know what Shtayim B'Shalosh Sha'ot. We know how the word Sha'ah is used in other contexts. Hours. I don't think any congregation would tolerate it. As your chazan standing there for 2-3 hours, like they would remove him. I don't know what it means. It means a long time, right? Shmuel. What's he saying? What's so complicated to say? Just maybe all drop dead. What's the big deal? What's so complicated? So complicated. So I find it fascinating. It really fascinates me that we only have, to the best of my knowledge, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I did not look it up in preparation for today's study. This is what I have in my mind. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. I think the only Mishnah in Shas where we have the teaching of Shmuel HaKatan, we have one Mishnah in the entire Shas where Shmuel HaKatan is the teacher. And it's probably the most unusual Mishnah because there is no Mishnah in Shas where a rabbi just quotes a pasuk. It doesn't exist. Imagine a Mishnah. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Reshit bara Elokim, Eit Hashamayim Beit Haaretz. What are you teaching me pasuk? I know how to read. Imagine, right? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Alochi Hashem Elokecha, Asher Otzeidicha. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Looking for Pirkei Avot. Shmuel HaKatan Omer. Now, exactly how to answer that question requires a lengthy discussion. I don't think we have time for it, but it's an important question. Shmuel HaKatan, the only teaching we have from him in the entire Mishnah is, don't celebrate when your enemies fall. When they stumble, don't be too happy. Shmuel HaKatan Omer is a pasuk in the book of Proverbs, the book of Mishlei. We don't need Shmuel to read for me the pasukim in Mishlei. You go study Mishlei. You're required to study Mishlei. You're required to study the book of Proverbs. We have many times a teaching and then a proof text from Tanakh. Where do we have a case where the rabbi just quotes the verse? I don't think it exists. Shmuel HaKatan Omer, Nefol oyivcha al tisma. Don't be happy when your enemy falls. My inner feeling is, I'd love to be happy about it. My enemy, the enemy fell. Wow, justice has prevailed. Take it easy, Nefol oyivcha al tisma. Uvika shelo, and when he stumbles, al yagel libech. Al yagel libech, let your heart not rejoice. No rejoicing. And you're Hashem. God will see what you're doing. This will be evil, wrong in the eyes of God. I would like to posit, and this is already mentioned in several of the commentaries, the reason why Shmuel HaKatan is the one who discusses the downfall. He is the one who establishes the blessing for the downfall of the enemies, is because he is the one who understands. If you want to be Pinchas, you need Briti Shalom. You want to carry out the action against Ir Nidachat, V'natan L'cha Rachamim. You want to establish the blessing of Lameshirim al Tikva? You want to bless Kol Rishah Kerega Tovei, God destroy all wickedness. Yes, but you need the balance of B'nefol Oyivcha Al Tisma. And anyone studying Tanakh knows one of the most famous books, I think I mentioned it in our discussion last week. You know, the book of Tehillim. The book of Tehillim is one of the most beautiful, most sentimental books ever written in world history. So filled with inner feelings of love, inner feelings of passion, sensitivity, so poetic. And the author is one of the greatest military leaders that our nation ever had, from the beginning of time to the end of time. David is like a fierce warrior. It's a general. And some people, it was so difficult for them. They said it can't be the same person. It's not possible. Not possible. David is this. David is in the battlefield. Then you're sitting and reading David HaMelech, crying and singing, and the book of Tehillim. Yes, that's the one that goes to war, the one that goes to battle. The leader of our nation led the battles of God. Is the very leader who knows how to sing. Or if you don't know how to sing, if you don't know compassionate words, or you don't know the inner levels of the expression of the heart, then maybe you can't go to battle. And maybe this is a theme throughout Jewish thought, throughout Jewish history. I do hope. I just say one concluding thought. I think it's supposed to end, but I have another minute. Is okay. What?
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe you remember it. I always quote this. One of the most sensitive commentaries that I ever read on the concept of Tanit Esther. Tanit Esther is a mystery. The 13th day of Adar is a day of fasting. The 14th day of Adar is, of course, Purim. However, the fast day of Esther is not mentioned in the Talmud expressively. Nowhere explicitly is it mentioned. It's not mentioned in the early writings. Where does it come from? Why? Who instituted Tanit Esther? What is Tanit Esther? Many, many different explanations. But I'd like to share what Rabbi Monk writes, The World of Prayer. I believe his commentary on the prayer book is one of the greatest commentaries I've ever studied. It was written, I think, in French, translated into English, translated into Hebrew. It's worth studying. The World of Prayer. And he said that before you get into the celebration of Purim, which celebrates that great battle of defeat, 75,000 enemies were destroyed. Maybe one day before that, there has to be some tempering of the celebration. I'm not saying that on Purim we're celebrating necessarily the downfall. We're celebrating the victory of the Jewish people. But the balance. I have a list here in the page in front of me, but I'm not going to read it. If you had to stop time, I can read it, but I don't know how to do that. It was to end at 6:45 here in Yerushalayim, and maybe 11:45. Some people there. So you want to say something? Please, you can talk as late as you want. I'm supposed to end. See, this is what Rav Machlis is saying. The same thing, Briti Shalom, together with, Vayit Korach Nehem. Please.
Yes, I was asked, this is a little related. I was asked by a friend, really how to explain to like the nations of the world, how to explain to maybe Jews aren't so connected, that sovereignty for the Jews to establish, the land is truly shalom. Meaning in regard to
I don't understand the question. Repeat it.
In regard to,
I was listening.
Yeah, in regard to the possible area which is in controversy.
You're talking about current events?
Yes, I'm talking about right now. So how do we establish that as shalom? How do we, represent that as shalom?
Do you know that the levels of love? I live here, Baruch Hashem, more than 40 years. You're all welcome to move today. It's worth going into quarantine for 2 weeks. They want to come into quarantine in my house. I don't know. It just comes a beautiful time to come there. So I look in the streets for like tourists. I saw a group of tourists. I was driving. I couldn't stop. I was so excited. Tourists! Wow! It's like I haven't seen this in a whole group of tourists with like special caps, and they were all wearing the same color. And they all. The truth is, this country is filled with people with tremendous love, tremendous respect, tremendous concern for the Arabs, the so-called Palestinians. And I think that what happens over and over again is that the efforts, you make me speak about politics. It's not a topic I like to speak about. But living here, the reality is that many times, I think that Israel has tried its best to extend levels of peace in all different kinds of ways which sometimes are damaging for ourselves. Bending over backwards to try to be sensitive and to try to be fair. There's no one that I know in Israel who's interested in the destruction of these people, the downfall of these people. It's a question of just survival and then making sure that in my interest, being open-minded, as Rabbi Miller often quoted, my great teacher, he said, yes, be open-minded, but don't be so open-minded that your brains are falling out. So we try to be open-minded, we try to be loving. But before we can speak about love you, Henny always loved to quote this teacher. The word love, but Henny really loved this teacher. She said that before you can say, I love you, before there's a love you concept, there has to be some kind of sense of I. If you don't have any I, then there's no love. So yes, we love everybody. Yes, I love you. The Jewish people have nowhere to go. It's the only country in the whole world. Just leave us alone. Let us be at peace, and the whole world will celebrate together. Does that answer your question on any level?
Yeah.
You can say no. I mean, I don't know. Smiling. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, yeah.
And you're just being polite. But I mean, I tell you the reality here. The reality, I'm telling you, for 40 years of living here, not just reading in the paper, 40 years of trying every which way, try to elevate the level of our cousins, to elevate the level of their culture, of their economic stability. And, you know, if somebody says, I won't be happy, so you give me Tel Aviv, you give me Yerushalayim, you give me Haifa, you give me others, leave. I don't want you here altogether. It's not a question of like this part of land, that bit, that's the way it's presented in service. It's not true. It's not true. And if you don't want to accept our reality of existence, I think the lack of a statement of I and too much love you ruins the whole I love you principle. So Pinchas is not just given the Briti Shalom, two parts of Briti. There are two parts of David. There are two parts to Eliyahu. There are two parts to Yoshua. Yoshua is a very compassionate leader. He also knows how to go to battle. If you don't know how to do that, maybe you have to study the verses in Kohelet for a time for everything. Anyone else wanted to say something? Shalom uvracha. You want to say something? Shalom, and thank you so much for joining. Hashem should open all gateways of bracha for you. We have a tradition that this Thursday may turn into a great feast. Maybe the day of fasting will turn to a day of feasting. Maybe this year, maybe it's a good day, I think. This year is a good day for that to happen, right?
Oh, I have a quick question.
I don't know how to answer quick questions. I answer slow questions. I'm a slow person.
Okay. We learned that there's a Isser Lo Tenachashu, right? There's no kind of trusting bad omens or be superstitious. But we know that during the 3 weeks we're supposed to be careful of different you shouldn't go into deals, or during Adar it's better to do investments. Or
I think what's meant by Lo Tenachashu, and the next words after it in the Torah, Lo Te'onenu, which the Onenu, according to some, has to do with the word Ona, seasonally. Don't say certain days or dates or bad omens. They walk around being troubled because it's Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, I had a student. She was a wonderful woman. She was so broken and so smashed. Friday, that year, that month again. Friday the 13th. I'm so scared of Friday the 13th. So why are you scared of Friday the 13th? Bad luck. I told her I was born on Friday the 13th. I was born on Friday night, December 13th. Or maybe for her that's a bit open, but I don't know. But like, I said, take it easy. 13 is a great number in Judaism. We celebrate Bar Mitzvah. We celebrate the 13 attributes of God's mercy. We celebrate the 13 principles of Rabbi Yishmael. And I was in a city once. I don't want to mention the name of the city because I grew up in that city. I don't want to say anything negative. And I don't know much about arithmetic and mathematics. I do know how to count to 14. At least I think I was in an elevator. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. I didn't do so well in math. 14 is not the number after 12, I don't think. And I asked, so that kind of thing. It's arbitrary. Is there anything real? Is there anything real about the 13th floor? I said to them, what do you mean there's no 13th floor? They said it's very, very difficult to rent. Nobody wants to rent on the 13th. I said, but it is the 13th floor. Just calling it the 14th floor. But people, this is very fascinating to me because these are people who, I hope it's not the case, but in the past, people would make fun of religious principles and not want to go on the 13th floor, or the mirror broke, or a bed. So I think it means arbitrary concepts. All concepts that are connected to negative, false value have their counterpart in real value. Or maybe it's not don't pick any period. There is such a thing as as blessed concepts. In certain days where repetitive themes of tragedies took place. Read the end of Masechet Ta'anit. 5 tragedies on Shabbat Sabbath Tammuz, 5 tragedies on Tisha B'Av. I think what it means is if it's baseless, don't. I don't think that Tenachashu or Ta'onenu means in a real level. You want to say, oh, what's so special about Shabbat? It says in the Torah you're not supposed to take any days and make big deals over them. Ta'onenu, from the word onah. No, Shabbat is special. You want to take an arbitrary day and Wednesday and say, I attribute great powers to it. Maybe that's much more.
Thank you.
Shalom uvracha. Hashem should bless you. All in every possible, happy, healthy, sweet way. Shalom.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Ravi.
Thank you.